Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this 18th episode of the Small Ball Podcast on a chilly Tuesday night. Tonight, I'm Charlie Rogers. There's Chancy Rogers, Joe Gray. He may or may not join us later. He said he would, but we never really know. Joe's doing Joe's thing. So for now, it'll be me and Chancy, and we got a good show for you tonight. We're going to talk about the D1 college baseball preseason rankings that came out. We're going to talk about club training and maybe talk about a couple camps that are going on, that kind of stuff. So, and anything you guys want to talk about. So, if you're in the stream and the chat, let us know. We'll be glad to talk to you. Chancey, what's going on, man?
Oh man, Starville. It's cold up here too. I actually done lessons outside. It was pretty. It was about 57 come 3:30, 4 o'clock, and it was nice. Took the kids out and let them play on the field while I was doing a couple lessons. Then Nolan had a basketball game, rec basketball game, lost by 2. He was upset, and then we had pictures afterwards. So, we had the sports psychologist that. Then so he had a good face, but he played hard. It's tough. This rec basketball, we're having trouble with the rules this year, and it's hard to coach a very competitive 6-year-old of what to do when we don't know what rules is going on. So we had issues with that. Can't steal, can't fast break, can fast break, can't play defense past this. 2 minutes left, you can play full court defense. It's all kind of different stuff. So yeah, it was a very eventful little day here at Starbucks.
Yeah, there's a lot to it. I'm more interested in the taking pictures after a loss. That's tough to do.
Mm-hmm. Especially with him, and you know him a little bit.
Yeah.
He pulled himself together. Now last week, played really good. I mean, he had like 10 points last week. He had 8 this week, and he's definitely the smallest out there. He's a point guard, but he's 6, and there's a bunch of 8-year-olds. But it's good. I mean, I made sure he'd done that. I was listening to Auburn Smoke State earlier, and they was talking about some of Auburn's good players and how their daddy made them play with the older boys, and so it's just kind of part of it for right now. I know he's going to be fine, and he likes the aggressiveness, and so they're a lot more aggressive than another 6-year-old for sure.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And they, we play rec basketball down here too. And we've done that for several years, and we lost our first game last night actually, and our guys were not at all very happy about that either. But hey, look who's here!
Yeah, man. What's up, man?
Joe, what's up? Joe Gray.
Hey, dog. I'm here.
What's going on? What you up to, man?
Hey, look, just getting everything situated for the new year. I just like too much to get squared away. But I'm actually getting ready to head to Phoenix tomorrow. So
Okay,
Phoenix.
well, you got some news for us or what?
man, right now I'm learning not to speak too quick on certain things. But
Say what you want, but if you headed to Phoenix, that's good news in my mind.
yeah, I mean, the good thing is that I go out there. I'll be doing some training under junior, and then basically at the same time I'll be having some kind of like some, like, I guess you could say, trials for some teams. Get out there, swing it for them. Some of their guys that come by, and watch lives and things like that. But for the most part, it's just for the fact that a lot of the teams, they haven't seen me play in a year, so they just want to look at the swing. That's what the case is. So hopefully we can get something going. And while I'm out there, right now I'm only supposed to be out there probably for like 2-3 weeks. But if I'm out there and we have something happen, then we can get it going. But it just all
Better to
depends.
better to be there than to not be there, right?
100%.
Absolutely,
100%.
and I love Phoenix, boy. Golly,
Hey,
that's one of my favorite places. If I make enough money one day, I'm gonna get me a place out there just so I can go and watch spring training and hang out for a few weeks, months.
hey, it's a nice spot, man. And honestly, Phoenix actually got some places you'll be surprised if you be like, all right, from the South, we actually would enjoy.
Oh
You
yeah,
got Cave Creek and Chandler. Not necessarily, you don't have to necessarily be in the city, but it's
Oh,
nice out
oh yeah.
there.
Well, I'll give you a quick story. So I got Allison I don't know if it's a birthday or Christmas. I Probably Christmas, and I got her tickets to Arizona. It was right. It was the year she was finishing up her doctorate in sports psychology, and we knew some people out there because of my brother's playing and knew sports psychologists out there. So I was like, you need to go watch spring training because you can get you're right there and you can get there early and watch what guys do and
Right,
learn some stuff. Because I told her you can have all the degrees you want, but you got to see what these people do.
right.
And so, dude, I got an Airbnb. I paid 140 a night. On the Airbnb, you're gonna love this. It said, no, it had to be a raised vehicle, like a truck or a Jeep, to get to the Airbnb.
Oh God.
And oh yeah, it took 30 minutes off the blacktop to get to our Airbnb, and it was probably 15 minutes out of town, but it took 30 minutes to get there.
Where
Man,
was it?
just northeast of Scottsdale. It was a river valley. You had to literally drive through the river. Like it was dry. There was no water, but it was like the riverbed, and you drove through. It was rocky and stuff. I'll pull it up.
I mean,
I'll
y'all
have to get.
probably you probably was out there in Anthem. It's a place called Anthem that's out there
Well,
too.
Well, a lot of people like ride dune buggies and ATVs and like it was that kind of area. It was like a
Yeah,
national park, but then somebody owned some land and put an Airbnb, and it was very cool, dude. Very very cool. Where a lot of people wouldn't even book it because of that, but we booked it because of that. It was
right.
like we was able to enjoy ourselves, and we didn't have to be anywhere until 2 because most games are around 2, and it was great. So yeah, I've been there before. Allison hadn't been there before, so we done that, and man, we both keep talking about like I'd love to do that again, and because it's a cool place, especially like you said, outside of the city. Man,
Yeah.
it's beautiful. It's a mixture of Colorado and Texas is what I always say.
Oh no, that's definitely the case. The only thing is just being out there in the summer, man. Charlie, if you ever go to Phoenix and you out there between I mean June, July, August, and September, dog. When I say that is a different type of heat there, and a lot of people say, hey, it's better because it's dry. Dude, if you ain't used to it, because that's kind of like what happened to me my first year when I got out there, man, with that whole pneumonia situation. I got dried out. Then they started having a monsoon season, things like that. Dog, it's tough. It's tough, man.
You there, Charlie?
Chris, I couldn't hear you for a second.
Charlie,
Ooh, I can't hear him.
lost you, Charlie. He might have been trying to do something. Well, when we lost him, if you notice Charlie's hat and my hat,
Oh yeah,
yours is sitting in my dash. I was hoping I'd run into you last weekend, but
yeah.
we uh we had a we had a very interesting week, and I was
Really?
there and back. Yeah, Charlie's probably gonna come back in. He might have to start this thing over. There he is. Charlie, you got volume? I heard something.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I don't know. I had to unplug my mic. I'm not sure. Not sure why that happened. Sorry about that. But y'all handled it pretty well while I was gone. So it's
We got this, baby.
Oh no,
Hey,
we learn from the best, man. We learn from the
yeah.
best.
hey, so what I was saying was I've flown over like some parts of Arizona and stuff, but I've never been to any of that area. But I
Mhm.
hear that it's very nice. But yeah, I think I've heard also that it gets very hot out there. I mean,
Dude.
it's pretty common knowledge that it's the desert area, and it I think gets pretty warm out there.
Well,
So, but
and you know what's crazy is that the fact that it's a desert, it also plays like that in the winter too. It will get
It's
cold out
cold. Oh
there
yeah.
in some places now because it's just and the thing is that we kind of like, man, I had just went to Toronto right? I just went to Toronto. That's a different type of cold. Like I wind be on wind. If it's cold and it's wind, I am a crybaby. So out there, no, because I could do cold, but I can't do the wind. The wind getting to you like that, I can't do it. And out there, it's straight wind. Like it's because it's nothing. It's just flat ground. They can just the wind just goes. So yeah, it gets both sides, but they don't have to deal with hurricanes.
Oh
You
yeah.
know,
Allison said, well, that's true. That's very true. Allison said that was when y'all watched Joe play,
Oh yeah,
Chancey.
we saw Joe. Yeah, we saw you during that time. Remember when we saw
yep,
you? You was with the Brewers.
yep.
Yep.
You know what's
Right.
crazy? You know what's crazy? I don't know if you remember. Do you remember where we were?
At the Kansas City and Rangers facility.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. You saw
Oh
me
yeah.
at the same place that I ended up getting,
Yeah,
shipped off to.
you
You
ended
know,
up you ended up in Kansas City. So
yeah,
yeah,
it's
so
insane.
you
And
ended
then
up you ended up back at that facility, but with Kansas City, right?
right, but I think Chauncey, did y'all not come out there twice? I think y'all came out there twice because one time, no. Y'all came to two different locations.
Yeah. Oh
You
yeah.
know, because one time also I was playing in the fall league. Yeah, that's where it was, playing in the fall league, and I saw you at the Padres Stadium. It was the Padres place in the Mariners, and then also the Kansas City and Rangers, their facility because they both all four of those teams share facilities.
Yeah. Well, that's how I remember. I remember Josh Young, and he was. I mean, he was fresh rookie, just called up from Texas Tech, big old third baseman, and he was hitting in the cage just right, right behind y'all, pretty much right behind the dugout, because it's not very
Mm-hmm.
big. And that was cool. I got some videos, and now like watching him, almost have a rookie of the year last year, and I love that. Of course, I'm a Rangers fan, so it's like
Oh
I
yeah,
eat
that's
all
perfect.
that up. I eat all that up. But yeah, it's cool. It's crazy how it rolls around.
So I see we got some rankings. I think that's what the
That
what one
is,
of the
yeah,
topics. So
something
y'all
that
got
we're
to
going to
catch me
talk
up.
about. Yeah. Well, it's just the D1 play or the D1 preseason college baseball rankings, and I had a photo of it, and I'm having a hard time getting it pulled up. But Chancey's got the list, and then I've got the list also. But
Can you when I minimize out, am I going blank or y'all can see me?
I think you go blank then.
All
I'm
right,
blank
Yes,
hold
you
right
on.
go
now.
you go blank when that happens.
All
Yes.
right, hold on. I got it pulled up, but
But I've got it. I've got it here too that I can see. I was just
yeah,
going to try to get it up on the screen.
my computer's out, um, but yeah, I mean, I thought it'd be cool. It's kind of of course in SEC country, everybody gets excited
Of course,
for these rankings and preseason kind of because especially this day and time in which we've talked about several times with the portal, we really don't know how good anybody is. you
You
know,
don't because you
it,
don't know what the team looks like. I mean,
it's hard.
nope.
It's hard to keep up. I mean, I'm learning a lot of players here, and which we'll talk club training. I had a Mississippi State player. Two of them helped me this past week, and they're getting prepared, and they came in at 18, and yeah, all the state fans are excited about that, and obviously want to work their way up because uh, the number one is SEC also.
yeah, yeah. So let's start with that. Number one on that list. It says D1 preseason rankings. Number one on that list, Texas A&M, a team that's been up there for. I mean, they've been good for years. And then
The last couple years that they get this preseason a lot,
mhm.
and the reason is because of money. They
Yeah,
they're the
They
one
got
of the
deep
highest
pockets.
paying. Yeah, they're the one of the highest paying schools. So that these baseball players, you get really ranked up there as far as where you are as a prospect, and you got to get paid as part of it. And of course, College Station's a great atmosphere, man. I mean, there's not really a SEC ballpark that's not a good atmosphere, but College Station's nuts.
I mean, isn't
yeah,
there isn't there a park named like Bluebell Park or something?
mhm.
I mean,
Yeah,
hey, look, if I'm
little bit of
getting
money.
money, If I'm
A
getting
little bit
some
of
money
money
from the
there.
ice cream, exactly. If I get some money from the ice cream, dog,
The
we're gonna
lo-
be the milk. We're gonna be the
yeah,
milk boys
not
for
just
real.
ice cream, the largest
Yes.
ice cream company in the world.
Yeah, you see, those Texas schools, they all have tons of money. And a lot of it comes from oil, that kind of stuff. I mean, look at the University of Texas; they're the richest college in the country, and then Texas A&M is not far behind them. But yeah, they get a lot of preseason love. Texas A&M specifically gets it in football too, and a lot of it is just about the money, man. And they always can bring in guys, but like in football, their nickname is Texas 8-4 because that's what
Oh
they
yeah.
go just about every year. 8-4, they fire a coach, they hire a new coach, he does the same thing. But yeah, I mean, look, they're usually pretty good. They're usually pretty scrappy. I mean, again, in this era, you don't really know what a team's going to look like, honestly. But they are ranked number
They
one.
usually they usually keep a really really good bullpen arm. Usually they have guys that can usually bridge gaps in games. That they end up getting in pro ball. Next thing you know, they turn into starters. You know what I mean? So like that's usually what their bullpen usually has, and then I for as long as I've been paying attention, after I got drafted or the cases, that was the one thing that I always did. I always kept up with college baseball because obviously the guys that were when I got drafted that was in college baseball, the guys I played against and played with. So man, Texas A&M always kept like good lefty hitters, man. If it's one school in the country that kept like good balance, gap to gap, but power hitters on the left hand side. And Texas A&M was always one. Florida was always one too. They usually kept a good righty or lefty that could bang too. Where's Florida in there?
Florida is not in the top 25.
Wow.
Eesh. Oh my God, are you
Oh,
serious?
Yeah,
wow.
Florida's not in the top 25. So um, we'll go through. I'll kind of name them off, and then if you guys want to comment on one, just stop me. There's a bunch of SEC teams. Obviously, we're in SEC country here.
Of
If
course.
you guys want to comment on one, you can stop me, and then once we get through it, we can talk about whoever. But Virginia, number 2, University of Virginia.
So
Number
who won it last year? I know that sounds stupid, but
L, LSU won it last year, right?
so LSU won it. Yeah, with Tommy, the old Tommy Tanks.
Yeah, Tommy Tanks.
They won it. Yeah. Well,
Yep. And so LSU is number 3 in this year's poll. The SEC has won it. I don't remember how many years in a row it's been, but it was. I remember last year it was a stat that.
No, it was
I'm sorry,
Tennessee.
Tennessee
Tennessee
won.
won.
That's what I was just about to
Tennessee
say.
Tennessee
finally
won
won
last
one.
year.
Yeah,
LSU
yeah,
didn't win it. Tennessee won it. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
Tennessee won
But
last year.
but point remains. Point stands. SEC has won it several years in a row. I'd have to go back and look up that stat while you guys are talking,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Vi-
and so LSU
Virginia,
number 3,
yeah, Virginia's always in there, but yeah, LSU's 3. It's going to
and
be
then
interesting.
Tennessee's 4. Yeah,
It's going to be interesting to see what they, recover from, how they did in the portal and all that.
yeah. So Tennessee's 4, going to try to defend their title. Nobody's going back to back. I think since South Carolina did it. And that's been a while ago when that happened. I don't have
Well,
my normally. I have two. I normally have an extra screen over here where I can pull up stats and things, but my
hmm.
monitor went out, so I'm working off of one screen. So I'm having to go back and forth to
We're
try to
we're
look up
all we're
stats and
all
stuff.
we're all messed up this week.
If
We are.
if Arkansas is not in the top 10, it's a problem.
Arkansas is number
Okay.
5. So
Yeah.
Okay.
so
I was just gonna
four
say.
four of the top 5 in the preseason are SEC schools.
Hmm.
So Arkansas number 5, number 6 North Carolina, number 7 Oregon State, who they're always kind
They're
of up there
always
too.
in it. They're
Yeah.
always in it. Yep.
They're gonna have an old team. Oregon State is. I know a couple guys on that team. They're gonna have an old team. They're gonna be an older team for sure. It's gonna be mostly the kids in the lineup. I don't know about the bullpen, but the kids in the lineup are gonna be definitely either juniors or seniors, or maybe in the nowadays with the transfer portal, 5th year senior, whatever the case is. But it'll be an old lineup in Oregon State.
Well, and I think we've kind of seen that We saw it in football, but I'm sure it'll translate into baseball too. But if you can get a veteran team together,
Yeah.
get a bunch of veteran guys, especially guys who have been together for a while, you have an advantage for
You
For
sure.
see,
sure.
you see that in basketball. I mean, you hear these
Yeah,
announcers talk about, you're gonna have a hard time winning if you ain't got a 23-year-old. If you don't have grad students on that team,
no doubt.
and they might have played at Mercer or somebody before, and they come in and they're just a grown man.
Hmm.
And so yeah, baseball very similar. Especially, I mean, I shouldn't say especially pitching. Heck, I mean, it's all of them as hitters too. You're just more mature, and so yeah, it's interesting. And it's going to be entertaining.
Yep. Um, so that's number 7, Oregon State. Number 8, Georgia, going to still be up there after
Wow.
after the Charlie Condon
Mm.
days are over. Um, Georgia was good last year, but I don't know. We'll have to see how much of that was dependent on Charlie Condon.
Yep.
I
Number
mean,
9, go ahead.
yeah. I mean, no, no, no. I mean, y'all are right. It just depends. After that, look, after the first conference, no, I mean, you may see it because it's gonna be some good. There's gonna be some good teams. That's obviously not in the SEC this year, but once with Georgia, man, they just had they had a kid that either hit right before him, right before Charlie. That was pretty good, but it just a lot of times I feel like Georgia's success was definitely because Charlie came through in some very timely hitting, man. He
He
came through
did.
in some fairly timely hitting, so it's just I know baseball is a team sport. It ain't necessarily a one man show, but one man can change the fate of a lot of situations if as a team you can force guys to throw to your guy you
Hmm.
know, and that's really the biggest thing. Georgia definitely did a good job to make sure that, even when teams had a game plan of Charlie not beating them by itself, they still made teams have to throw to him.
And also they might have a roster with another Charlie in it, and we don't know about it just because they're
Yeah.
in Georgia.
Yep.
Where the a lot of the Mecca, they even get a lot of Alabama kids now that perfect games in Hoover, but there'll be a young kid that's just a stud that we don't even know about, and
Right,
and
right.
I got the kiddos telling me good night. Good night.
Good night,
Good
kiddos.
night.
Put some clothes on, boy.
Oh, look, you're lucky. You're lucky. He's got the britches on. It's a
Uh-huh.
hard time keeping
Uh-huh.
clothes. He likes running around,
He's got to
not
be
with clothes on.
free, man. You got to be free.
Yeah, he's a very free 6-year-old for sure. We're trying to calm him down.
So Georgia number 8, number 9, Florida State. Florida State Seminoles.
Trying to make up
Mm.
for the football year.
I guess so. I guess
I
so, man.
guess, man.
How terrible
I
was that?
guess. I guess, dog. I don't know. I haven't seen much on Florida State. I'm not gonna put my foot in my mouth. I'm not gonna speak too much on that. I just don't know much about them. I just feel like it's a tough thing. Whoever's the coach coming after Mike Martin, that's just a tough situation. Because he was recruiting me when I was in high school, and man, I actually loved him. I love
Really?
Mike Martin. I love talking to him. You know what I mean? And
He,
I
he
just
led
love
me.
I loved everything about him. So
He was a
Joe, I
legend
lied
for
to
me.
you. I lied to you, Joe. Number 10, Florida Gators.
okay, all right.
I don't know. I don't know how I
They're
missed that a
back to
while ago.
back. Florida
We're back
State
to
Yeah,
and then
back.
Florida
Florida
State.
Gators.
Oh
Hmm.
God. Ooh
Yeah,
wee.
Yep.
That'd be a
that's
Florida
gonna
State,
be
match
Florida.
whenever they
yeah,
play.
because that'll be a midweek game.
That's
Hmm.
gonna be that's gonna be absolutely electric
Yeah,
when they
that'll
when
be a
them play them.
Wednesday. That'll be a Wednesday, probably in March or something. I bet if Charlie had his extra screen, would be able to pull it up. Uh, but there's a Wednesday game right
Oh,
there,
I
kind of
got
like
you.
Southern Miss and Ole Miss type deal.
I got you. And that series, them, honestly, I feel like when Florida plays Miami is way more chirpy.
Hmm.
I don't really
Yeah,
feel that when Florida plays Florida State. For some reason, it's not like that heavy, just like electricity. But when Florida plays Miami, them boys get chirpy. Yeah.
well, with the rankings sometimes added in there, just like Auburn and Mississippi State. There's no rivalry there besides SEC, but
Yeah.
Good Lord, Auburn just like their fans were nuts just because Mississippi State was ranked so high, and
They'll play.
obviously Auburn's number one, but it was just. I mean, look, one of the best scoring guards in the country could not. He didn't have a field goal until the fourth quarter, or not the fourth
Yeah.
quarter,
So
but it would
in
have been the fourth quarter.
basketball this year, there's no bad losses in the SEC. They're just there's not any
Part
bad
of it.
losses.
You
The
just got to
worst
get. You
team,
got to get better. You just
yeah,
got
the
to get
worst
better
team
first.
is
So
they play March 11th. Is that what you see? Did you just pull that up, Joe?
so
March 11th. I said it. It's come mid
what
March.
you talking about? Which one you talking about?
Went Florida State.
That
Man,
on
yeah. So
Wednesday.
they play. Well, well, shoot, we might be looking at the 2025 baseball schedule, Florida Gators.
Yeah,
So they
they
play,
play in Tallahassee on March 11th.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a
So
Wednesday. I
so
bet.
they're playing them split. So they're gonna play them 3 times, but it's gonna be
Ooh.
all over the schedule. They play them
Mhm.
one March 11th, one March 25th, and
Mhm.
then one April 8th. See, the problem with that though is they're gonna throw their best guys. They're all gonna be midweek, but they're gonna throw their best guys each after.
They got a guy. They got a guy ready for
Yeah,
him. Oh yeah.
yeah. But
Yeah,
In
see, they
fact,
play.
yeah. In fact, there's probably one guy ready for them that he
Yeah.
signed an NIL deal just to beat them.
Well, let me tell
so
you
so
something. I mean, the first series they play. I'm not trying to say anything about Harvard, but they played their first series before Florida State is against Harvard. So I don't know if they throw they number one, probably say they number one or they number three for that. But then they
but
play
look at it, Joe. They
they
play
go back and play
Tennessee.
Tennessee. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
nah.
they
But
they
they
play
do
Florida
play
State on
Miami
Tuesday. Yeah, they do play Miami earlier.
in a 3-game
They
series.
They play Florida State on that Tuesday, March 11th, and then they turn around on the 14th, that Friday, 3 days later, and play Tennessee. So
Oof,
they've got
oof.
that, and then on the 20th, and that's in Tallahassee, and then on the 25th they play in Jacksonville, so a neutral site game, and then turn around on Thursday, so 2 days later, and start a
Yeah,
series with Ole Miss
yeah,
in Oxford, and then they play again on April 8th, a Tuesday, and 2 days later on Thursday they start a series with Missouri. So yeah, I mean it's that they're going to have to think about pitching if they depend on how much they care about beating Florida State.
Hey man, this is not an easy schedule. I know earlier, usually earlier teams get their easier games out the way. I don't really know anything about Air Force. I'm just gonna take the guess that Florida handles them and all the way through. Like before they get to Miami, I feel like they should at least go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They should be probably 10-0 before they get to
They
Miami.
should. Yeah, I mean you're
That's a
looking at
Air
should.
Force might have a baby Paul Skeens coming, guys.
And you damn right. You damn right. They may have one. They may have one in the back pocket somewhere. They may have some. They're gonna have one guy that said, "You know what? I'm going to serve God and country, but I can throw 98 and I'm gonna shove it."
hmm
So
Or I'm just smarter than everybody else, and that's where I want to go. And then they have to look back and like, oh, I can make a lot of money if I go over here. My last
exactly.
year, yeah, yeah. Look, Air Force better carry that on for a long time for recruiting.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
look,
hmm
100%.
if you're smart and can be pretty good at baseball, let's do this. And if Paul Skeens get hurt tomorrow, I promise you, there's not a business in the country that wouldn't hire him.
Not at
hmm
all.
Just
Speaking of being
and intelligence. I mean, he's high level intelligent.
speaking of
I
being
mean,
smart, number 11, Duke.
Duke
The Duke Blue Devils, number 11.
what?
above the other smart school, Vanderbilt.
What?
hmm Yep. Number
What?
12, number 12, Oregon. Number 13, NC State. Number 14, Wake Forest. Wake Forest is always going to have the pitching, man. They're known for the pitching. They've got the pitching lab there.
Yep.
Their
Well,
coach is big on pitching.
Allison just echoed you about the pitching lab.
Yeah, yeah. They're always going to
It's a big
have.
deal.
Yes, it's a big deal. People go to Wake Forest
Yep.
to get pitching, coach
They'll,
pitching from other
they'll get
schools.
some of them Georgia boys too.
Yeah, yeah. Number 15, Clemson.
Always
And
in
then
it.
we get back into the SEC with number 16, Vanderbilt.
Oh,
Nate is
that's the
University of
always
first.
there.
Vandy.
That's a that I look my take on Corbin. My take on Corbin is it does not matter where he's ranked to start a year. He's going to find a way to find himself there. It doesn't matter, it's just ranking or not. Vandy is Vandy. They gonna throw up that big V, and they gonna find a way to either be in an SEC championship or they'll be in some super regional knocking on the door, be back in the College World Series. And mark my words, that is my take. Corbin is a dog. All right, that
Right.
man is.
And they're not like an atmosphere team where like you come to Mississippi State, you go to LSU, it's hard to play. It's not like that in Nashville, but
No.
what happens is they do so much right and so calmly that it's intimidating. You know what I mean? Like that's what I feel when I'm watching them. And I got to coach a travel ball team at their stadium, and it's nice. I loved it. It's my style for sure. But yeah, it's not like Duty Noble or something.
It, it's it's
They,
it's one of those things. Oh, my bad, Charlie. My bad.
you're good. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, but like to add on what Jesse's talking about, bro, is just like it's one of those things where you have a team, like you said, you do so many things right that it's not like you go into duty number field, bro. You know for a fact somebody's gonna. If you're an outfielder, someone's gonna be in your ear letting you know you suck. If you on the pitching
Hmm.
mound and you do something wrong, guess what? They are gonna let you know. You go into Vandy though, it's just you get sped up.
Hmm.
It's more you get sped up. Everything starts to move fast, and then you're like in the box, you're hyperventilating, or you're in the infield and you're rushing your throws. Like everything gets sped up when you're playing in Vandy. It's not necessarily like energy, like Chuck was saying, but you will get sped up if you ain't sound
But
playing
you're not
against Vandy.
prepared. Not
So
prepared. Not prepared.
right,
I see a lot of teams going there not prepared,
right.
and but it's a different kind of thing. Like you know, you got to be prepared to go to LSU. You got to be prepared to go to Mississippi State, and you got to do different things. I've seen coaches, turn speakers on, like and play clips of crowds, and like them doing the chant and all the other and the Vanderbilt's got the whistle
The Whistler.
or the
Yes.
whistler
Goodness.
and then
Yes.
different stuff. I've done that to a youth team one time. We got beat by a team that wasn't very good, but their crowd was very loud, just
Hmm.
yelling, and we just couldn't handle it. It was like a shell shock to them. And the next practice, that's when I had the PA in the press box, and I turned on just I typed in "mad moms" at a baseball game
That's a
because you
dangerous.
heard
That's
the
a dangerous
moms.
Google search, Chancey.
Yeah, well, at a baseball game,
Yeah. Yeah, hey, look, that's the thing. All right, mad parents,
you
that
got
is
to
a
be able to. What I'm saying, you got to prepare for that kind of stuff.
right.
Hmm.
What's
For
next?
sure. Next up, sorry, I had to take a drink from my small ball podcast cup that I have.
Magnolia merch.
Yes, I had to take a drink from that. Next up, let's see, where were we? Wake Forest, Clemson, Vanderbilt. Next up is Oklahoma State, the other OSU, number
What?
17,
Yeah,
Oklahoma
they're
State,
they're they're, they're always they're going they get players, man.
Yeah,
and
they get
then
players.
at number 18, Mississippi State University. Tell us about Mississippi State University, Chancey.
Oh man.
Um, well, I live right here, and I've been to a few scrimmages and practices. I know a few of the kids. One of them I've taken hunting. One of them's taught my teams how to throw flat grounds. But like any other school with money, I have no clue because they got a bunch of new
Yep.
players. They got, I have no clue what they're going to look like. They look great to me. They're obviously SEC recruiting caliber. But who knows? We don't know who's going to start shortstop. We don't know what. And I think everybody's going to be like that. And one thing that brings, I believe, is the excitement. That's one thing about
Mhm.
this list coming out. But guess what? That opening weekend, it don't matter. I don't even know who state's playing, but it's going to be probably nobody. It's going to be just packed and everybody's excited. If you're not there, you're going to be watching it on ESPN. And I think everybody's school is like that. So, here comes the revenue, here comes the revenue sharing. Eventually, it's just a big old machine, baby.
Yeah, I was gonna say it doesn't. One thing they are gonna do, whether they win, lose, or draw, is they're gonna fill up Duty Noble Field
Oh,
because that's what Mississippi State does, and that's what most of these SEC schools do. Um, but specifically the ones in this state. I mean,
man.
you go to Starkville, you go to Oxford, you go to Hattiesburg on a baseball weekend, and it's standing room only at all of those facilities.
Mississippi loves their baseball. There's no doubt. I fuss about Hattiesburg all the time. And I said it last week. I think one of my buddies were playing music or something. And the crowd's low or something. I was like, here in a few weeks they'll be showing up for baseball games. So it's hard for them to show up.
Hmm.
I think one of the pizza place there. What was that pizza place called?
In Hattiesburg.
Joe. Yeah. Big Joe's. Something Joe's.
Oh, Fat Boys Pizza.
Fat Boys. Yeah, not Joe's. I guess I was thinking about Fat Joe. But we loved going by there. Actually, before baseball games, that was a cool place. Now,
Yeah.
it's closed down, and you know, something else is there. But the last 30 years it's changed 30 times, I believe.
Hmm.
It
And
has. Yep.
it's just hard. Hattiesburg shows up for baseball, but they don't show up for a lot of other stuff. But yeah, but it's like that in the state. I mean, of course, Ole Miss and State are different. Just massive, massive fan bases. I mean, it's
Hmm.
unreal. Like you go to a women's basketball game here, and it just shocked me. It just really
Hmm.
shocked me of like who shows up. I'm like, y'all love this, but
Oh
they're
yeah.
they're they're just diehard fans, so they want everything to do well. And we had a really good soccer team, and that was crazy. I mean, our soccer complex is not anything crazy, but when they got number one, I mean, you couldn't. There was nowhere to stand because you can bring
Hmm.
dogs and stuff. It's like outside, and it's crazy. So, I mean, every school's got their thing, but like again, watching Auburn tonight, and we have really good basketball crowds, but I don't think I've seen anything like that. That was raunchy. The jungle, they're calling it. It's
Oh
going to be
yeah.
hard to beat them there. I'm going to tell you that.
Oh, Auburn. It's going to be hard to beat Auburn anywhere. Auburn is an elite basketball team. But the problem, or what we were saying earlier, is I mean, there are several elite basketball teams just in the SEC: Tennessee, Florida, Auburn, Alabama. Uh,
Ole Miss just beat
Ole
number
Miss
four
knocked off.
Alabama tonight.
They did. I was watching the end of it when me and Chancey were about to get rolling on this. So that's a big win for the Rebels tonight over number 4 Bama.
Looking
Um,
at oh my bad, go ahead.
well, I think you're probably about to say the same thing I was. I looked up Mississippi State's schedule, and they're going to start the season off February 14th against Manhattan. And I guarantee you, Duty Noble Field will be sold out.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And
I mean,
then
I
they
mean,
come to
we get
Southern Miss the
yeah.
Hmm.
18th, that
Yep.
Tuesday.
That is something to talk about. They're taking away the neutral site. I think they're
Yeah.
playing. They're playing. Are they playing one at Shuckers?
They're playing. Well, they're playing. No, they're playing
Well,
Southern
you'd have to
Miss.
pull up Southern
Home and
Miss.
it's
No, no,
home and
no. They're
home.
playing. No, they're playing. Yeah, they're playing at Hattiesburg on the
I know.
18th. That
I
Tuesday.
think Ole Miss might come to. I know Southern Miss is playing at Shuckers or somebody, but no.
Yeah.
Soon as
Southern's
they announced
playing the
that last year, they announced
Yeah,
that
Southern's
last year.
playing the other game in Starkville. They'll play on March 4th in Starkville, so it's a home and home
Right. I
for
know
them.
Mississippi State's home and home. And they announced
Now,
that, and I was
now,
like,
state is playing at Keesler, but they're playing against Nickel State. Now, it may be like a little tournament there that Ole Miss may be playing at. But they look, State is playing Ole Miss
I'm saying
at
Southern
Trustmark
Miss.
Park.
Yeah, I'm saying
Yeah, it
Southern.
says. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think Southern
Southern.
Miss is playing at Shuckers.
Gotcha. Yeah, Ole Miss
Somebody.
is still going to play state. They're still going to play the Governor's Cup at Trustmark Park in Pearl.
Yeah,
Yeah. But
but
I love the fact that Southern Miss or they're doing that like home and home. Because I mean, I went to the last one. And I'm like, man, why are we in Starkville? Just go to Starkville and then come to Hattiesburg. Great
Mhm.
atmosphere, great for the schools. It's going to be nuts both places, and I didn't like the neutral on that.
Well, I'll tell you this though, states away SEC schedule is not easy. That is not an easy away schedule. Now they do play Texas at home, but they go to Oklahoma. I'm not really sure how good Oklahoma is first year in the SEC, but they do have to go to LSU. And they
I,
have
I
to go
got
to South Carolina.
I got a former lesson player, plays for Oklahoma out of St. Louis, um, Brock Daniels.
Mm,
It was my bosses who owned the organization, Rawlings Prospects in St. Louis. It was
hmm
his son, and he would pay me. Not really. I'm not going to say I gave him lessons because at 11 years old he was very good. He paid me to throw BP.
Uh-huh.
Gas. Here we go. They need a little harder. They need a little harder. Like I throw it to his whole team sometimes, and he'd be like, "Now they need a little harder than that." And I'm like, I'm pretty young then. I'm like, this is gas from 45
Uh-huh.
feet, bro. And
Uh-huh.
but good lord, I think Cub told me there were 71 kids off that team.
Sheesh.
Yeah,
I need
yeah.
I need you to get a hold of Allison over here, commenting on the thing. She's
Oh my
she's
goodness.
she's out of
She,
control.
she, she, yeah, she's thinking that you're not you wasn't gonna post that, but you calling her out now. But
She's out of control.
she's gotta protect her job a little bit, so I guess that's what she's doing. I don't know. But
Defend the
she is
brand.
going to bed. She is going to bed, and I assume she's watching as she's going to bed.
Defend the brand. I did look up Southern Miss's schedule. They you said it, I think, Joe. They do play in Biloxi against Nichols on March 25th. So
Yeah,
they will play at
state's playing at the Shucker Stadium. It just March. It's like they're playing Nichols though. Um, Now USM. I mean, I'm not sure if USM is in the top 25 if they're there or
No,
really.
they're not.
No, they're not.
Okay.
They're not.
But I don't think
Um.
they were last year. And of course, Ostrander got them where they need to be. I thought they had a really good year. I mean, they eventually got ranked. But I think it's just Ostrander does a great job of getting guys nobody knows. This preseason rank is all about prospects. All these
hmm
guys that they bring in. So he gets guys that he knows he can turn into something, and then
Yeah.
then they'll go to Florida and sign a $2.1 million NIL deal. But it's part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot.
Part
Um.
of it.
I mean USM, man. I mean, it's just. I mean, they're the hometown team. They start off the year at Lafayette. I mean, not at Lafayette. They start off. They play a 4 game series. So they play a doubleheader on Saturday. Um, and
They
then
they got a lot of guys back. I don't think that they lost anybody significant. They lost some to JUCO. Some of them
yeah,
went to Pearl River and stuff. Because of this new rule and all the new stuff. So but I don't think they were really young last year, but they competed. They were actually very enjoyable to watch. I was worried about I'm a huge fan. I've had several players play there, and Coach Berry, and just friend of the family for a long time, and Coach Ostrander I've known crap since I left Jones, really, because 2 years after I left, my stepdad actually was it was him and Ostrander interviewing, was the last two left, and Ostrander got the job. And we just I got to know him over the years. And when I coached for 59, Matt knew him because of Delta State. And man, I could bring Nolan to the bullpen, and he'll throw him over the rail. And it just can't help but love him. Great guy, and he does a great job of preparing these men. So hats off to a low budget team. That's I feel like after a month or so we're going to see them in the top 25.
Well,
hmm
you've seen, and they've done it with several coaches. I mean, they've done
Yeah.
it. They did it with Corky Palmer. They did it with tell me, I can't remember his name. You just
Scott
said it.
Berry, Scott Berry, Scott
Barry.
Berry.
Yeah, they did it with Barry. I saw his face in my head. They did it with Barry, and then they now. I mean, I look for it to continue with Oz.
Oh, no doubt. But last year was great. That was for them to do what they did with that young of a team and no Dickerson,
Hmm.
no Danny Lynch. The leaders are kind of gone. No, oh Lord, some of this guys about. I mean, who was our pitcher that year? That we lost. Well, we lost Waldrop, but who was the other one?
Tanner
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 Hall.
Hall. Yep.
It was, I mean, literally one of the best pitchers in the country.
In the country. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
in the country. I mean that's hard to replace. But done a great job with some old dudes, some JUCO guys, and it was interesting. They were fun to watch. I mean, I turned them on every week, man. And so our local crowd is, we got a lot of Southern Miss fans, and should and even if you're not, if you're state and Ole Miss
Still
fan,
this
you're like,
guy. Still this
yeah,
guy there.
yeah. Who? Let's see.
That's we had him on the show.
Oh, that's Pato. Oh, yeah. Oh,
Pato,
my
yeah,
boy.
Carson.
Yeah.
Carson.
Carson's he's the old guy there now. So
Yeah, he is.
yeah, I need him to hit about 25 home runs and hit about 360 and 25 home runs. We're gonna get drafted. He already showed he could play first base, but he's still really fast. But he is a large human.
No, he's a big kid, yeah.
Yes, and but can run. He really can run, and so I see him being a corner outfielder and next level. He's got to hit, and he knows it. But no, love Carson gave lessons to him when he was young, eighth, ninth grade, and to see him do well in college baseball and at a high level is pretty cool. So excited for him. I don't know if this is his last year. Who knows with all the different rules, but I think it's close.
Number 19, following up Mississippi State, is Texas Longhorns.
Hook 'em.
Yep, hook 'em horns. Number 20, Dallas Baptist. Dallas Baptist always around too.
Oh wow.
Yep. Number 21, Arizona.
Hey, before you move on,
Yep.
does it show Dallas Baptist's record last year on that list?
No, but I can find it.
Oh, well, on my list it did show
Did it?
really good record. I think they lost like 14 games last year.
Mm.
They were really good, and they find a way to make sure they play the competition.
45 and 15.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's pretty
that's
good.
good.
Oh yeah, and also not making a huge run. I think they were. I mean, they made it regional, obviously. I don't think they made it to the Super, but
They lost. They went 1-2 in the Tucson regional.
Mhm. And it's tough.
Arizona.
These regionals are tough, but yeah, the Parker boys are committed there. Uh, Dallas Baptist is always an attractive baseball school for sure.
Yeah, they actually in the Arizona regional, they lost the first game to West Virginia. Then they beat Arizona, the 1 seed. They beat Arizona, and then they lost. They got put out by Grand Canyon.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
wow, Grand Canyon, what a great year. Speaking of Phoenix,
I
Yeah.
mean, they had a guy. I just put like that. If they lost, it's because they had a guy.
Grand Canyon is a cool school. I've been seeing when I was there. I was like, that's a cool place to go play.
Well, you're dead smack in the middle of a neighborhood.
Oh yeah,
You're like I know a lot of schools are like that, but like the way this place is, you're dead smack in the middle of the neighborhood, and like they have it to where it is like so congested. Like, dog, there's a house in the middle of the school that like the people who own the house, they just would not sell. So it's like they built the school
it's an
literally
old
around
school.
this one house.
Yeah, it's an old school, I believe. We hadn't heard about it, but they done a good job with their baseball team. They got some attention last year for sure.
So number 21 Arizona, we said. Number 22 UC Santa Barbara.
Wow.
The Gauchos.
A lot of times you'll get Long Beach in there.
That's why that's what I'm used to hearing out there. If it's a California school, UCLA, Long Beach, and then it's been a while since you got
Cal State Fullerton.
Yeah, Cal State
Cal
Fullerton.
State, but it's been a while though since you've seen Fullerton,
Oh,
up there.
I've been to College World Series 3 times, and they were there twice, but That shows my age. That was a long time ago.
Number 23, TCU.
I always loved TCU. Boy, do y'all remember the year they won it or went deep? And they had that catcher. Lord, what was his name? He was like the Baker May. He was a Baker Mayfield, like behind the plate. He was a dog, son. Like one of the
USM is going
places.
to play. USM got a 3-game series at TCU.
Oh, that's fun, man. I like TCU. I've always liked them on baseball.
They've got a
Yeah.
cool little stadium set up there, don't they? Ole
Yeah.
Miss
Oh,
played
yeah.
in a regional there several years ago.
Yeah, I love TCU.
Number 24, Nebraska.
What?
And Nebraska.
One of my very first College World Series. It was back when it was still in Rosenblatt.
Mm-hmm.
I went with my stepdad, Coach Bray, and he never he would make this trip every year. And I don't think even he was married to my mom yet, but he took me. I was like 12, and he was like, "Oh no, we don't buy tickets. We just get them when we get there because I mean, it never filled up." And Nebraska was in it, and we had to get tickets like off the street, scalpers and stuff, and that was really weird. He was like, I didn't think Nebraska, I didn't think about it, but it was nuts. All you saw was red every game. Because back in the day, I mean, yeah, it was a lot of people to go, but it wasn't like every game wasn't just packed out. It just, it was more your more popular teams,
Yeah.
Well, and when teams start getting put out, it's easier to get tickets then. And
yeah, but
that kind of stuff.
now you better bring out that pocketbook.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
It's a different.
And then rounding out the top 25. Anybody care to guess? It's a team on USM's schedule.
It's a team on USM's schedule.
You know what conference?
It's in USM's conference. It's a conference game for USM.
Charlotte?
What?
No, Old Dominion. Old Dominion.
No.
Okay. USM's conference. Sunbelt.
Oh, Lafayette.
Nope.
I would have guessed Lafayette.
Nope.
Man, I'm just going through the list. Lord. It's gonna be
Can't be Rice. Can't be Rice. No, it ain't Rice.
Not Rice. Not
Rice.
Marshall.
Right. Not Marshall.
That would be odd.
In the Sunbelt.
In the Sunbelt.
Okay, hold on.
You got all these new teams. I don't know.
I'm finna look at the Sunbelt SBC conference list.
I thought for sure it'd be Louisiana.
Conference list. Okay.
Good job. It's making us.
App State, Arkansas State, Coastal Carolina. Is it Coastal Carolina?
Coastal.
Neither one of them.
No, what?
Texas State.
Nope.
What? Can't be South. Okay, you already said it's not South Alabama.
Yeah.
James Madison.
Nope.
Jesus.
They were pretty good too.
I wouldn't guess Georgia Southern.
Nope.
Wouldn't guess Georgia State.
Nope.
And then you got Appalachian State.
Nope. Y'all are missing one.
How are we missing all this?
They are more of a football school. They're known more for football.
Jesus, bro.
I mean, you've named almost all of them. What are you looking at the list, Joe?
Yeah, I am.
Who do we miss?
Look, I mean, dog. We got.
They are in a bordering. They're in a bordering state to Mississippi.
Troy.
That's right.
Troy.
Wow.
All right, so we played a tournament up there recently too, and that place done got nice. They getting some players, but they recruited some local kids. I know. I tried to get Landon Hawkins to go play football and baseball over there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that place
Troy University is number 25.
Ooh, that ought to tick off the Southern Miss fans and tick off the Southern Miss players, and they need to replace that first couple weekends. Sweet.
Well, hey, they go over there and handle business against TCU. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and they got to handle business against Troy. The good thing about it is RPI.
Yeah, they get Troy. Troy is the last series of the season, so they don't play Troy till the middle of May. They'll play at Troy.
Yeah,
So,
man.
9 of the top 25 preseason SEC
SEC.
schools. Yep, 4 of the top 5, 7 of the top 10. So 9 of the top 25. Obviously, the omission there from our state, Ole Miss, not in it. They're a team that had a great recruiting class, but a team that has not recovered from everything they lost after winning that College World Series, and they got to figure it out. I mean, it's crunch time for them. They hired a pitching coach. Bianco's never had a pitching coach at Ole Miss. They hired one this year. They got to figure it out. Joe, what you think?
I mean, um, Ole Miss, just man, that's still my man, that's still my school, man. And I don't want to speak anything negative about them, but I'm glad they, the last, in the recent years they won that national championship. But one of the biggest things that's always been like a stereotype with Ole Miss is just they don't finish. They
Mm-hmm.
like they get into they'll win the SEC, but they won't get out of regionals or they won't get out of
Mm-hmm.
super regionals. So I just think now
Besides the year they won it, because they
if I'm
definitely
Besides
did.
the
saying
year,
besides the year they won it, but that was the biggest thing. They'll win the SEC goal and then where are they? So I just think um they've always had the hitters to be able to bang with everyone in the SEC, but we always have been known to have one or two starters, but then our bullpen and our bridge guys, where are they? So
mm-hmm.
if they went out and got a pitching coach, man, we just gotta hope that the guy he knows how to get those guys to the best of their ability. And they got Bianco, man. He knows how to get the best out of his players. And it's just a matter of just the players making it happen when the season. I won't be surprised if Ole Miss is another team that ends up being ranked by the first 3-4 weekends. So after the first month, I wouldn't be surprised if
Oh,
they can handle it. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
and yeah, it's just you can't lose a whole lot non-conference and prepare for
Right,
conference, because
Yep.
once you get to conference, you can't be getting swept, and
right.
and that's tough. I mean, I last year was my first experience to like watch a series when LSU came to town that first series. Dude, this place was nuts. I mean, obviously they won a national championship, but Tommy Tanks, and I mean, it was just like it was so cool. I actually had really good seats. Hats off to Stephen Lack at the time. He hooked me up with some diamond passes, and I was right behind the plate. People were texting me on ESPN. But you got to be able to win some games, just like basketball. You got to be able to knock some out and take your losses and move on.
Yeah.
Well, Ole Miss starts out the season in the Shriners Children's College Showdown in Arlington, and they'll
Uh
play.
oh.
Yeah, so their first 3 games. The first game is against Arizona, who on this preseason poll is 21. Their second game will be against Texas, who on this preseason poll is 19. And then
Yeah.
game number 3 is Clemson, who in this preseason poll is 15. So
Well,
they're going to start the season out with 3 ranked opponents in Arlington. So we'll
I tell
see.
you
We'll see
this:
pretty quick.
if they go if they go 2-3, I mean 2 out of 3, they come out the first weekend ranked probably 20,
Oh, no
ranked
doubt.
either 19, 18, 17, regardless. But to add, with the SEC being so strong, any team in the SEC, if they are a real team, man, and they got that dog in them, you can get ranked. If a team cares about rankings and stuff, man, you can turn up the rankings on your own if you just win in the SEC.
Yeah.
All you gotta do is really just win in your conference. If you're in the SEC, if you win in the conference in the SEC, that within itself is gonna give you enough. I guess you could say, power
R-
rankings right there.
yeah,
Because the SEC
RPI.
is so loaded.
Oh yeah, the RPI is so high. I mean, even the ones that aren't ranked are up there RPI wise. So yeah, it's massive. And they
Right.
can just if you just win a few series, win and not get swept. I mean, when you get swept, it's tough. It starts getting tough.
Right.
Is there a team for you guys that you're surprised is not on this list?
Not
Man,
real. I don't have anybody because I know what everybody's different. Everybody's like got total different rosters, so it's like it's hard for me to keep up with all of them. So I'll find out first weekend. First weekend, I'm gonna be nuts eating crawfish and on my ESPN app watching as many as possible because I love college baseball.
I am surprised. I am surprised UCLA. I'm
Yeah,
UCLA.
surprised about UCLA. UCLA has some really really good kids over there, like some dogs. They got a shortstop over there, first round for sure. 100%. Obviously that's just one guy, but usually UCLA they have pitching, and they usually have some good infielders that can definitely turn up the notch. So I mean, ain't no telling. Is UCLA in what is UCLA still in the Pac-12? Pac-12 is dissolved, right? Who are they with
Pac-12 is
now?
the only two teams left in the Pac-12 are Oregon State and Washington State. Now they are I think adding a bunch of the Mountain West teams. So they're going to still have a conference, but UCLA now is in. Are they in the Big 12?
Yeah, who is UCLA with now?
I mean, I'm looking it up.
Yeah, I'm surprised UCLA is not on there. Um,
They're in the Big 10.
they're in the Big Ten.
Yeah,
Mm. Well, I'll
UC,
be fair with
USC,
you.
and UCLA both went, and Oregon both went to the Big 10.
If there is a team, obviously we don't really tune into Big Ten baseball, but
Mhm.
there's a team that I would suggest wins out the Big Ten or be in a championship game. UCLA, first year edition, wherever the case is, and honestly, with first year editions in the SEC, I don't know what Texas is like, but I know for a fact in the past when we had to go play Texas while they were in the ACC, it was not sweet. If you go over there and play
Mhm.
Texas, SEC teams were losing. They were getting
Mhm.
beat going over there and play Texas. So I don't know how Texas is going to be playing in hostile environments like the SEC, but I know it ain't going to be easy going over there as a SEC player, as a SEC team going over there and play Texas because it is not sweet. Plus they got uh Troy Tulowitzki
Mhm.
as a hitting coordinator, so he gonna have them guys ready to bang, man, and he gonna have that major league approach, man, attacking the fastball. And SEC is full of fastballs. They got guys that can break it off, but they got heavy fastballs, and it's gonna be power fastballs, and you got power hitters. That's what the SEC is known for.
That
So
comes back around to Long Beach because Troy Tulowitzki played at Long Beach, right?
yes, he did. Yes, he
great.
did.
He was a great infielder. I used to love watching him take ground balls.
We
Dude.
have come full circle on that.
No,
And
no,
guess what? Him and Chipper Jones is where I got the first batting stances. I've been to so many batting stances. You can ask Chauncey. I try them out like they underwear. First batting stance I ever had, and I know Chauncey remember. He probably remember me. First time he ever saw me, I had a toe tap. Him and
no.
Chipper Jones, Troy Tulowitzki and Chipper Jones. That's where I got my toe tap from.
Chance, you see a lot of that, don't you? You see a lot of young kids with a toe tap, and
Yeah,
don't you? You
yeah.
have to tell a lot of them, hey, you don't really need that.
You don't need it. I always tell them, I'm not going to take it away from you unless it becomes a problem. But a lot
Hmm.
of kids, they're trying to figure out that timing, and I'm big on,
Hmm.
I've probably done it with Jackson before, but I'll put them in that back kip and just let them sit and tell them,
Hmm.
regardless, I don't care how you get there, toe tap, big leg kick, it don't matter. You've got to learn to stay on that hip and get separation and go to work. So if you're not comfortable in that back hip, then it don't matter if you toe tap or whatever. So yeah, I see some kids. I have some nervous kid. I had one the other day. He was real nervous and he had toe tap, but he would like da 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 da. He would just da 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 da, and it would just mess up his timing. And so I got him to relax a little bit. He ended up like having like a semi toe tap, but it wasn't no big deal. He made it work.
Hmm.
And a lot of times it's just like Joe said, you got to try different stuff. You got to try different stances. There's no perfect stance, but there's a perfect stance for you in a sense. Like you gotta find what works for you. And so sometimes you just gotta try stuff.
How much
100%.
of it? How much of it is comfort? Is it? It's just you're looking for something that's comfortable for you versus a something I can actually get my hands to the ball quickly. I mean, what
I used to
percentage?
say that a whole lot more, and Joe probably can add to this too. I used to say, make sure you're comfortable. And I mean, I still do say it, but especially on the younger end, kids tend to have bad mechanics because they're trying to find comfort. Like they bring their
Hmm.
chest up, or they open up. Like kids that step out, if it's not because they're scared of the ball, if they step out, most of the time they're trying to cheat. And
Hmm.
so it's more comfortable to step out and then just throw your hands rather than land your front side and rotate against it. And so that's not comfortable because it uses more muscles. And so I'm careful about saying the comfort word because they've got to learn to be comfortable, uncomfortable to make an
Hmm.
adjustment. So,
Yeah, and I've
um,
heard you say that. I've heard you
yeah.
say that with several kids, my kid included. Um, Joe,
Joe,
thoughts?
what you think about on that? Yeah.
Well, I think it depends. It like Chauncey knows, it all depends on the kid, and then it also depends on what that kid mind is wired like. Like for me, it's not necessarily comfortability because I've hit in some uncomfortable situations. Like not going up there, and I feel like, dog, this don't even feel like my swing. And the next thing you know, I'm going 4 for 4. You
Hmm.
know, but I think there is a blend. You have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Not every day you're gonna go out there and you're gonna feel like 100%. You know what I mean? And there's gonna be some days where you feel like, damn, like I just feel, excuse my language, I just feel on, like I don't feel like me. Like my body's tight, or maybe my hips ain't don't feel right, this and that. But sometimes comfort screams confidence. If you feel good and like you feel loose, then it feels like you got something to go up to the plate, like to go to war with. And a lot of times that's what you want. You just want to feel like, you know what? If I'm going into battle right now, I got something to go into battle with. So it really just depends on what you may feel is, comfort and what's not. But sometimes, man, I think we said this one time, bro, 100 pence, dog. I know for a fact he didn't feel comfortable every time he went up to hit that up there like this. Just like, come on,
He
like
just tried to compete.
he just
Whatever
competing.
was happening. Yeah,
Yeah,
and to piggyback off that, no, I agree. But then I also agree with the side of sometimes kids, and I say kids. I've seen older kids do this. Comfortable means satisfied to them, and you can't be satisfied. I do know
Hmm.
that you can't
Hmm.
be satisfied. It don't matter if you went 4 for 4 the night before. You better be in that cage still working.
yeah,
Can't be satisfied, but you got to go there confident, like Joe said. Confidence. I mean, we talked to Tanner Allen last week, and
Hmm.
if anybody rips confidence, that dude does, and that's what's made him successful. But it didn't really matter what his swing looked like. In his mind, that's the way he competed. But some kids get comfortable and they get lazy because they're satisfied. Like, oh, I got a good swing. Here it is. Boom. I got a 6 year old like that, and I get on to him like you got to try to do damage, bro. Like you got a great swing, you got to use it. And sometimes you just got to change your mentality and be like, I don't really care how my swing looks. I got to hit the baseball. And
right.
sometimes, like Joe talked about, on the days you feel like it's not your swing, it might be your body is working harder, and so it feels different. And maybe that's what it needed to do. You just never know. I mean, baseball hitting in particular is a crazy, crazy, hard, wild thing to do.
Yeah, last thing, and I guess this is for the actual like kids stuff like that, and I keep it short. Is like sometimes you got to figure out whether or not you're an internal or external hitter, and I think a lot of that goes like a lot of people don't really understand what that is at a younger age. But like if you're an internal hitter, that means majority of what you're doing and your cues is always going to be mental thoughts. If you're external, you're trying to hit things out in the field. You know what I mean? So it's like a lot of external hitters, they don't care what they do. They're the ones that they can do a lot of like big leg kicks and stuff like that because they're not focused on their body. They're just focused on everything outside of their body. Internal guys, they're like, is my hip this and my hands here, this and that. And like me, I get internal, when I'm an external hitter. And that's where I have found my issues, and that's when I started having problems, when I started turning away from being an external hitter, because I'm a hitter that I can't think about my body, can't think about anything inside of me. I have to tell myself I'm trying to hit this ball off the right center field wall, and that's it. But I think that's like the other thing. You just gotta figure out like whether or not you're an external or internal hitter. And a lot of the best hitters are external. They're worried about everything outside of their body. So
No,
That's
I agree.
super
Javi Baez.
interesting. Yeah. That's
Javi
super
Baez is
interesting.
strong.
Is he? You think?
He could care less what he's doing with the swing.
Yeah.
He's trying to hurt that baseball, and he'll
That's very
strike out.
interesting.
He'll strike out
I
200
want to
times.
I want to talk about that more on another show, because that's I think we could do a whole show on that. That's interesting. I've never heard that. Never really thought about that. So those two
yeah,
types of approach to hitting, I like that, and so I think that would be a good episode to kind of talk about. But we're gonna wrap this one up. Also, I know on the thing it said that we were going to talk about club training, but that's going on for 4 weeks. So
We'll
we'll hit
talk
that
about it
next
next
week.
week. Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
talk
we'll
about
hit
it
that
next
next
week.
week.
It's just we'll talk prep. It's what our organization is doing. So
Hmm.
we'll kind of talk about what we do and what other levels are doing and how we compare it. And I get excited about it. So yeah, well, I need a
Oh yeah.
whole show. I need a whole show for that. But I put that in there because we did start it this week in Starkville and in Summerall. And Summerall we
Hmm.
had to go inside, but it was really good. I was really proud of my instructors. Two of them I coached, and one of them I played college ball with. So it was a new instructor crew, and it was really good. But we'll talk about them, and we might bring one of them on. So
Awesome. Final thoughts.
oh man, my bad.
Joe just threw us down.
yeah, college baseball. If you hadn't looked at the rankings, just looking at them, I get excited, and of course, spending an hour talking about them, I get super excited. I love college baseball, and I think it's one of our better entertainments if you like the game. You got a big variety in college, and they're all accessible, mostly through ESPN. And man, it's awesome. It's a great time of year for me. It's relaxing. I love coming home and falling asleep watching a game. It's like a very satisfying thing for me. So I know that's weird, but it's a good comfort time. It's baseball season for me.
For sure.
Joe, final thoughts. Joe, anything you want to say?
Hey man, college baseball is always fun. So I'm ready. I'm ready to watch, man. I'll be watching. As the same time I'm preparing to play too. So I'm ready.
Well,
It's
we're
always
gonna
good
we're
to
gonna
see.
need some updates. We're gonna need some updates come next couple
Yeah,
weeks now.
you got to
Oh yes,
stop
for
being
sure.
so cryptic, man. You
Oh
gotta
yeah,
get something out there. We'll get it out there.
Yeah.
All right.
for sure.
Well, I'm Charlie Rogers, Chancy Rogers, Joe Gray. This has been the Small Ball Podcast. We appreciate all of you in the chat, all of you who watch and listen. We're on all the platforms, all the podcast platforms. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all those places as well. So if you don't see us, it's not because you didn't try, or it's because you didn't try, because we're out there.
We're out
We
there.
appreciate you guys. We'll see you next week. Until next Tuesday, we appreciate you. Good night.
Good night.